Griff Hamlin here from Blues Guitar Unleashed. Welcome and thanks for joining me. In today's video, we're going to talk about the Dorian scale and more specifically how it is a really nice drop-in replacement in most blues for the pentatonic scale. Now, there's a little bit that kind of goes with this, obviously. First of all, you got to know how to play a Dorian scale. You got to know how to play a pentatonic scale so we can modify it. So let's start with the pentatonic minor scale. Okay, now please remember that I see the pentatonic minor and the pentatonic major as two different scales. Not everybody does that. That's kind of my thing. It's what I do. It's not super uncommon, but if you don't look at things that way, this may seem odd. So, box one, right? Let's just do pentatonic. So A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C. You're probably familiar with those. That's a 5-note scale. A root, flatted third, fourth, fifth, flatted seventh, root, flatted third, fourth, fifth, flatted seventh, root. If we take that scale and we add the 2 through flatted 3, 4th, 5th, 6th, we add the 6, flatted 7, root. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A. B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C. Now, the first thing you got to realize is that the only way to play a Dorian scale? No. There's 5 ways to play a Dorian scale, just like there's 5 ways to play a pentatonic scale. There's actually more than that. There's 5, I'll say, compartmentalized boxes, if you want to use that. I don't really want you to get too crazy with that, because to be perfectly honest, if you learn, I'll say, all the different ways to play it, and then go try and use it, it tends to not work out very well. It tends to work out a lot better if you take a new sound and learn it in one place and be able to make it musical in that one place. And when you get the hang of that and you get to the point where you start to get kind of bored because you can use it very comfortably, then add another place. So for now, let's just play it here. Let's keep it simple, okay? So what do we have? We have all these different notes now. Now, can I still add the blue note? Absolutely. And notice that we have, we've only added 2 notes. We can still play the pentatonic scale, and it's still in there. Even though we've added these couple of extra notes, the pentatonic scale is still in there. Okay, so now we have a solution looking for a problem. Yay, Griff, you taught us how to play a Dorian scale. Now what? Okay, so now's when we have to kind of take a step back and we have to go, okay, well, where would we use a pentatonic scale? Like, why do we, a pentatonic scale, when you think about it, is also a solution looking for a problem. Great, a pentatonic scale. Now what? Okay, so we're looking at a very specific use case right here, which is the 12-bar blues. Okay, and I'm often very, very specific and very precise with my terminology. When I say something is a blues, what I mean by that is that it revolves around 3 dominant 7th chords. Okay, now it doesn't necessarily have to be a 12-bar format. It could be an 8-bar format. It could be a 16-bar format. I've written 13-bar blueses before. You can have a different number of bars, but it still revolves around, I'll say, a 1 chord, a 4 chord, and a 5 chord that are all dominant 7th. What is it that makes that special? Without getting too deep into theoretical weeds, when you have 3 dominant 7th chords together like that, every single chord is actually a brand new key. Even though we say it's a blues in A, you'll notice that I don't say it is a blues in the key of A. Again, I'm being very precise with my language because it's not in the key of A. An A7 chord doesn't exist in the key of A. You can't have that. Okay, so I say it's a blues in A because I'm approaching it from this A standpoint. But it's a blues. I'm approaching it as a blues. And the simplest, one of the easiest, most popular and most common ways to approach soloing over a blues, which is anything that has these 3 dominant 7th chords, is to use the minor pentatonic scale or the minor blues scale, which are totally interchangeable. If I say minor blues scale or I say minor pentatonic scale, you can swap the terms. It's the same thing. Just because we add the blue note doesn't make the scale work any differently. So in a blues like that, not only can I use the minor pentatonic, but it turns out I can also use that Dorian scale if I want. With the blue note or not. Not only that, but I can use that Dorian scale all the time or just some of the time. And when you use it just some of the time, that's when things get particularly cool. Why? Because we're adding some flavor. And just like, salt, pepper, paprika, Cajun spice, whatever, when you add it to a recipe, it's little bits of this, little bits of that. That's what makes things sound great. But I do want to point out a couple of interesting things. If I put on a little blues here, you'll notice that as I play this scale, okay, there's a lot more notes. So it's dangerously easy to get caught in just playing the scale. If you just play the scale up and down, it sounds like you're just playing a scale up and down. And you don't want to just sound like you're playing a scale up and down. So that's one thing that you have to be careful with this. If all I do is, again, I just... it's gonna get old. And so I want to encourage you to intersperse the pentatonic scale. So I might do a little run, then go right back to the pentatonic. The other thing is you can't forget about your rhythm and your timing. And I know I harp on this all the time, but it's gonna sound cool if you give it rhythmic variety, if you give it rhythmic interest. It's easy, again, because it's a scale, it's easy to just get, 8th note-itis or 16th note-itis or whatever. But if I do things like, and I keep it interesting, short phrases. Also take advantage of the fact that we now have these half steps. Right? So up on the top string, I have that half step between the 2nd and 3rd fret. So make a bend out of it. Same thing there. Okay, and so there are other things that you can do with this Dorian scale aside from just playing it in order. And that is the biggest thing I can tell you, because that's what's going to make it not just sound like a scale. Alternating back and forth between that and regular old blues scale is going to sound good. That's going to make things work. Now, a couple of other little details. There's an interesting thing that happens over the 4 chord. Over the 4 chord, the third of that chord, the F sharp, is now in the scale. So as you play that Dorian scale, you might hit that and you might go, wow, that note like really fits well over the 4 chord. Yes, it does. You're right. Congratulations. It does. Make note of that and aim for that note a lot because it's going to sound great. Okay, it's just one of those, again, extra little pieces of flavor that you can add, especially over the 4 chord. However, when you get to the 5 chord, in my humble opinion, it sounds better to just go back to the pentatonic scale. It's not to say I can't use the Dorian scale over the 5 chord, but I prefer the pentatonic scale over the 5. So notice that as this goes, here's the 1 chord. So that's all Dorian. There's that cool fancy note. Here's 5. Back to the Dorian. Back to pentatonic. Back to Dorian. Back to pentatonic, right? So I'm kind of, as you can see, I'm kind of, going a little bit back and forth between the various sounds. To me, more than anything, that's what makes it work. I think the biggest takeaway for anyone watching this video, hopefully, is that you will see it's about mixing it up. Okay, the classic approach of using the pentatonic scale over a blues, it's classic because that's what people have been doing for 100 years or more. It sounds good. It's what our ears want to hear. It's what they eventually will long for if we take it away. So when you come in with a little bit of Dorian or an arpeggio or something outside or anything other than that pentatonic sound, at some point you're going to have to bring it back, or it's going to leave the blues world very quickly. And that's probably going to alienate a lot of listeners. Maybe you don't care. That's fine. I'm just saying this is something you might want to be aware of. Okay, so the bottom line here in this video, though, is the Dorian scale, like I say, it's a drop-in replacement. You can use it anytime instead of your minor pentatonic or minor blues sound, which again are completely interchangeable. If you know it and you want to play with it, I highly encourage you to do that. I also encourage you to use it sparingly. A little bit here, a little bit there. It's going to sound awesome. If you use it all the time, it's going to get old just like anything else. Okay, so please keep that in mind as you do this, but I do hope that you'll play around with it. I do hope that you'll, try and throw it in here or there, just little bits and pieces. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with it. And as always, if you've got guitar playing friends that you think would dig this video, I hope you will share it with them. If you'd like to learn more about Blues Guitar Unleashed and all the various courses that I have available, or the All Access Pass program, or any of that, sign up for the email list. I have free lessons and free courses. I do a lot of stuff on email that I don't do here on YouTube. So I encourage you to go to bluesguitarunleashed.com and check that out. As always, I'm Griff Hamlin for Blues Guitar Unleashed, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.